My name is Helen, and I'm 56 years old. I thought I had lived through every heartbreak a woman could possibly endure until the day of my wedding, the day I believed would heal my past, bring my family together, and give me a second chance at love. Instead, it became the day my own children humiliated me, the day my heart split in a way I never thought possible. The day a joke turned into a revelation that shook two families and exposed truths no one was prepared for. But to understand that moment, the laughter, the mockery, the silence, and the final shocking reveal, I need to take you back to the beginning. To the moment I decided to open my heart again, the man everyone thought was too old for me. His name is Daniel. 62 years old, gentle eyes, a quiet smile, a man who never raised his voice, never hurried his steps, never judged anyone. To me, he was peace. To the world, he was the old man dating a widowed mother. When we first met at a charity event, I remember thinking, he looks like someone who has been through storms yet still believes in the sun. We talked for hours about books, music, and life. Not once did he try to impress me. He didn't flirt. He didn't push. He simply listened, really listened. Something my late husband, God rest his soul, had stopped doing long before he passed. Over the next year, Daniel became my anchor. He helped me through loneliness. He reminded me that I deserved joy. He made me laugh again. But for my son, Ethan, and his wife, Clara, none of that mattered. All they saw was an old man replacing their father. And they never hid their disgust. Mom, seriously, him. The first time I introduced Daniel to my family, Ethan pulled me aside. Mom, you could do better. He whispered harshly. He looks like he should be teaching chess in a retirement home. His words cut deeper than I let him see. Clara rolled her eyes dramatically, staring Daniel up and down. So what is he, your therapist, your life coach? I laughed awkwardly, trying to smooth over the tension. Daniel, being the gentleman he was, pretended he didn't hear them, but I did, and it hurt. My daughter, Mia, however, liked him. She saw what I saw, a kind-hearted man who cared deeply. Still, Ethan's attitude only worsened over time. The engagement that turned my son cold when Daniel proposed. In the sweetest, most tender way, under the oak tree in the park where we had our first date, I cried. Not because of the ring, not because of the moment, but because I felt safe again. When I told Ethan and Clara, the room turned to ice. Ethan scoffed. Mom, you're rushing into this. You're emotional. You're lonely. That guy just wants something. Clara crossed her arms. Let me guess he doesn't have kids of his own, so he's trying to buy a family. How convenient. For the first time, I raised my voice. He loves me. That's enough. But it wasn't enough for them. Not even close. They attended the wedding only because they didn't want to look bad to the rest of the family. But the moment they stepped into the venue, I could sense the storm brewing. The day that should have been beautiful, it was a simple spring ceremony. White flowers, soft music, a small gathering of close family and friends. Daniel looked handsome in his suit, his silver hair glowing under the soft lights. He smiled at me in a way that made me feel like a bride for the first time again. But just behind that smile, I noticed Ethan and Clara whispering, laughing, pointing at him. Mia gave me an uneasy glance. Mom, they're being weird. I brushed it off. It's fine. We won't let anything ruin today. But I was wrong. I had no idea what they had planned. The whisper that broke me as Daniel walked down the aisle with the officiant. Ethan leaned over to Clara, loudly enough for several guests to hear. Wow, look at him. She's marrying a scene. Your citizen, I hope he doesn't fall asleep mid. Vows. Clara giggled, covering her mouth. Or forget the vows. You know, old age memory. Laughter spread behind them. A few cousins chuckled awkwardly. Others stared at me, waiting to see my reaction. My face burned. My hands trembled. Daniel heard. I saw the slight flinch in his eyes, the hurt he tried to hide, but he kept walking. He kept smiling, because he loved me, the old man. Joke they had planned just when I thought it couldn't get worse, just when I thought they had embarrassed me enough. The officiant asked if anyone wanted to share a quick blessing or words of love. Ethan raised his hand. I froze. Clara smirked like the devil herself. Ethan stepped forward with a microphone and said, "Mom, I'm happy for you, really, and Daniel, welcome to the family. I hope your health stays strong, so Mom doesn't become a widow." For the second time, gasps, silence. A few people shifted uncomfortably, but he wasn't done. In fact, he continued, "Clara and I got you something for fun." Clara handed him a small box. He opened it dramatically and pulled out a pair of adult diapers. "For the honeymoon," he announced. "So you don't have to worry about bathroom breaks." Laughter broke out from some guests, the ones who thought it was just a joke. But I felt something inside me collapse. And Daniel, he went completely still, his eyes lowered, his jaw tightened. That was the moment my wedding, my happiness shattered. But that was also the moment everything began to change. Because Daniel, the man they mocked as an old man, the man they thought was weak, useless, and irrelevant, had a truth, a powerful one, that would flip their world upside down. A truth I didn't even know until that moment, and when he revealed it, my son and his wife went pale. The laughter died instantly, and the entire room went silent. The room was frozen. The laughter from Ethan's cruel gift still hung in the air like smoke after a fire. Daniel stood there, calm, too calm. That's when I knew something was about to happen. He looked at Ethan, not with anger, but with an expression I had never seen on him before. A quiet, controlled disappointment. A man who had been disrespected deeply, but was choosing dignity over rage. He gently placed the box of adult diapers on the table beside him, dusted off his suit, and cleared his throat. Then the old man, the one they mocked and belittled, finally spoke. "Son, may I say something?" Daniel looked at the officiant. "May I speak for a moment?" The officiant nodded, likely grateful someone was about to take control of the chaos. Daniel walked to the front, slow, steady, confident, not the walk of a weak old man, but the walk of someone with power he didn't need to show. Someone who had earned respect long before stepping into that room. He turned toward my son, my firstborn, and said, "Ethan, I have watched you mock me since the day we met. I hoped, perhaps foolishly, that as your mother found happiness again, you would find empathy." The guests were silent now. No one breathed. Daniel continued, "I am older than your mother, yes. I have lived a longer life. I have made mistakes and successes, and I have scars that taught me patience, humility, and love." His voice was steady, heavy with truth, "But I have never mocked you, not once, and I never would, because I respect the people she loves." Clara folded her arms, whispering to Ethan, "He's Gil, tripping us." But Daniel heard it, and for the first time he looked directly at her. "Calm, sharp, almost cold, and you," he said softly, "have treated her and me like amusement. Yet you stand here benefiting from everything she sacrificed for you." Clara's face reddened instantly. My heart pounded, my eyes blurred, but Daniel wasn't done. The moment he revealed who he really was, Daniel inhaled deeply, then said something none of us expected. "Since today is filled with gifts, let me offer one of my own, a truth." He reached into his inner jacket pocket and pulled out a small leather wallet. From it, he removed an ID card and held it up. A murmur went through the crowd. People leaned forward. Whispers spread. "Is that? No way, you're kidding." He handed it to Ethan. Ethan glanced at it, then his face drained of color, his eyes widened, his mouth dropped open. He handed the ID to Clara with a trembling hand. She froze too, because the card said, "Brigadier General Daniel R. Hayes, retired United States Special Forces, Classified Operations Division." My heart stopped. Daniel, a military general, a man with a background so high, level, that even I had never seen this ID. The guests started murmuring louder. Daniel's voice cut through the shock. "For 35 years, I served in positions where mocking an older man could get you consequences, grave consequences." His tone wasn't threatening. It was factual. I led soldiers. I carried lives on my shoulders. I negotiated with presidents. I've survived deserts, jungles, wars you have only seen in films. He looked directly at Ethan. And you think the worst thing about me is my age? Ethan's face was crimson now. Clara had gone pale, the kind of pale that comes only from being utterly exposed, but Daniel wasn't bragging. He wasn't flexing power. He was revealing truth. You judged the package, but you never bothered to know the man. Daniel continued, I retired quietly. I didn't broadcast who I was because I wanted Helen to love me for my heart. Not my rank, not my medals, not my past. He turned toward me and his expression softened, and she did. She loved me simply as a man, not a title. My eyes filled with tears. Daniel took a slow breath. Ethan, Clara, you saw an older man and assumed weakness. But what you mocked is the same age that brought me wisdom, discipline, and the ability to protect the people I love, including your mother. He paused, and judging someone based on age says more about your immaturity than my years. The crowd shifted. Some nodded, a few whispered their agreement. Ethan and Clara stood frozen, unable to speak. Daniel then did something none of us expected. He stepped closer to them, close enough to look directly into their eyes. Then he said, I do not need your permission to love Helen, but I had hoped for her sake that I would earn your respect. The pain in his voice was undeniable, but after today, respect is something you will need to earn from us. You could hear a pin drop. My son breaks down. Ethan swallowed hard. I saw his throat tighten, his jaw clench, his eyes turn glassy. He wasn't angry. He was ashamed, completely, utterly ashamed. Mom, he whispered, voice shaking. Mom, I didn't know he was. I stepped toward him, my hands trembling. It shouldn't matter who he is. I said softly, you should respect people because it's right, not because of their title. Ethan's eyes fell to the floor. Clara's breath was uneven. For the first time, they looked small. Not physically, but morally. Daniel began to return to his place, but Ethan took a step forward. Daniel, I'm sorry, he said, voice cracking. I crossed lines. I went too far. I hurt my mom and you. I don't know what got into me. It wasn't a perfect apology. It wasn't complete, but it was a start. However, Clara stayed silent, arms crossed, jaw tight. Eyes burning with humiliation, not remorse. But before the ceremony could continue, something happened. Something small, something subtle, but something that would change everything later. Daniel's breathing shifted. His hand trembled for a split second. His shoulders stiffened, almost imperceptibly. Only I noticed it. Because I knew him, because I loved him, and because Daniel had a secret he had not revealed. Not in his speech, not in his ID. A secret that would come crashing down soon. A secret that made Ethan's apology too late. Too late to fix the damage already done. Too late to stop what was coming next. Because the old man wasn't just someone with a powerful past. He was someone fighting a battle no one else knew about. And the stress of that moment, the humiliation, the emotional weight, triggered something none of us expected. The ceremony was supposed to continue. The officiant cleared his throat. The music softened back in, and guests slowly relaxed after the intense confrontation. But I couldn't relax, not after I saw Daniel's hand tremble, not after I saw the color drain just slightly from his face, not after I saw him draw a quiet, strained breath, the kind someone takes when they're trying to hide pain. Daniel was strong, Daniel was disciplined, Daniel never wanted anyone to worry about him, but I knew him, and I knew something was very, very wrong. The moment his body gave up as the officiant began speaking again, Daniel took a step toward me and then stopped. Just stopped, his eyes blinked slowly, his shoulders dipped forward, and he pressed one hand to his chest. Not dramatically, not like in movies, just a subtle, controlled gesture. But I saw it. Mia saw it too. Mom, she whispered, grabbing my arm. Mom, look. And then everything happened at once. Daniel swayed. I reached out to catch him. Gasps rippled across the room. Ethan rushed forward too late, and Daniel collapsed. Right there on the floor of our wedding aisle, the same aisle he walked down with strength, pride, and hope for a new life, he now lay on, unconscious. My heart cracked in a way I didn't know was possible. Call an ambulance. Chaos exploded instantly. Guests screamed, chairs scraped, someone began crying loudly, someone else shouted instructions, but one voice cut through all of it. Call an ambulance, now. It was Ethan's, panicked, terrified, desperate. His earlier arrogance had evaporated. His mockery, his jokes, his judgment, all gone. He was just a son watching a man he had wronged collapse in front of him. As guests scrambled for phones, I fell to my knees beside Daniel. Daniel, please, look at me, please. His eyes were closed, his breathing shallow, his face too pale. I shook, tears blurring everything. Then a pair of hands gently pulled me back. Mom, let the air reach him. Ethan's voice cracked. Mom, please, he wasn't trying to control, he wasn't trying to lecture, he was scared, truly, genuinely scared. The secret finally surfaces within minutes. Paramedics rushed in. They worked quickly, checking vitals, attaching wires, lifting him onto a stretcher. But in that chaos, a paramedic asked a routine question. Does he have any known medical conditions, heart issues, recent surgeries? I opened my mouth to answer, but I didn't know. I didn't know, and that terrified me more than his collapse. Then Ethan said something that made my blood turn cold. My stepdad Daniel mentioned something earlier about health issues. I turned to him sharply. Health issues? What health issues? Ethan swallowed hard. He said he hoped his health stayed strong. He joked. I thought he was being sarcastic. I didn't think he meant. My heart pounded. Then Mia spoke, voice trembling. Mom, do you think he's been hiding something? But I didn't think. I knew the signs I'd brushed aside, his occasional shortness of breath, his quiet pauses, his insistence that I never worry. Daniel had been hiding something. Something serious, something heavy, and my son's cruelty, Clara's mockery, the stress and humiliation of this day could have triggered all of it. The ride to the hospital, I rode with Daniel in the ambulance. Ethan and Mia followed in their car. Clara didn't come. She said she didn't want to be around crying and drama. That should have been my warning, but my mind was focused on only one thing: Daniel, stay alive. Please stay alive. As the siren wailed through the streets, one paramedic monitored him while the other spoke to me. His tone was clinical, but sympathetic. Ma'am, his heart rhythm is irregular. We're stabilizing him, but he'll need immediate evaluation. Was he under stress today? I choked on a bitter laugh. Yes, I whispered, more than you know. I held Daniel's hand, praying silently. Tears ran down my face, landing on his knuckles. For the first time since meeting him, he felt fragile, breakable, and it terrified me. The hospital wait that never ends when we reached the hospital. Daniel was rushed through swinging double doors. Ma'am, please wait here. A nurse said, but how do you wait? When the love of your life is fighting to breathe. Ethan and Mia arrived minutes later. Mia ran to me and held me as I sobbed. Ethan stood there, pale as a ghost, trembling. Mom, he whispered, this is my fault. I looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time that day, I didn't see an entitled son or a mocking boy. I saw a child again, the boy who once cried when his father scraped his knee, the boy who used to run to me after nightmares. But I couldn't lie to him. It didn't help. I whispered shakily. It didn't help at all. He lowered his head, emotions collapsing inside him. I pushed him too far. Ethan said, I should have been better. I shouldn't have. God, what was I thinking? Why did I do all that? Because he was hurting. Because he feared losing his father. Because he resented the idea of anyone replacing that void. But none of that justified the cruelty. Before I could say anything, a doctor walked toward us. His expression was professional, but tired. That tiredness only comes from delivering heavy news. Are you family of Daniel Hayes? My breath caught. Yes, I'm his wife. I mean, we didn't finish the ceremony, but yes. The doctor nodded. We ran tests, and we found something. My knees weakened. What did you find? He sighed deeply. Mrs. Hayes, your husband has a heart condition he's been hiding for a long time. I felt the ground sway beneath me. A condition? Ethan repeated, voice cracking. The doctor nodded gravely. Yes, a serious one, and based on his test results, the stress he faced today nearly pushed him past the point of recovery. Silence swallowed the hallway. Mia gasped. I covered my mouth. Ethan stumbled back like he'd been physically hit. Then the doctor said the words that shattered my son completely. If he hadn't been brought in when he might not have survived. Ethan's legs buckled. He sat down, hands over his face, sobbing, broken, guilt crushing him like a weight. But this was only the beginning. Because, as the doctor continued, we learned just how much Daniel had been hiding, not just from us, but from himself. And once the truth came out, it wouldn't just change my marriage, it would change my entire family. Forever, the doctor led us to a small consultation room, one of those cold, white, painfully quiet spaces where truth becomes heavier than air. I could barely breathe. Ethan sat with his face buried in his hands, shoulders shaking. Mia held onto my arm, terrified. The doctor placed a file on the table and spoke gently. Daniel has cardiomyopathy, a weakening of the heart muscle. He's likely been living with it for years. My mouth went dry. Years of him pretending everything was fine. Years of him smiling through discomfort. Years of him hiding pain behind calm eyes and gentle laughs. The doctor continued, his heart functions at about 40% of normal capacity. That means stress, emotional strain, physical exertion can trigger severe episodes. I closed my eyes, tears slipping out. And today, he added, he experienced a stress-induced cardiac event. Not a full heart attack, but very close. Ethan let out a broken sob. Because of me, he whispered. It happened because of me. The doctor didn't respond to that. He didn't need to. We all knew the truth. Why didn't he tell me? The question clawed at my chest. Why would Daniel hide something so serious from me? From the woman he wanted to marry, from the partner who deserved to know. The doctor seemed to read my thoughts. Mrs. Hayes, many people with this condition hide it, especially older men, especially those with military backgrounds. Why? Because they're trained not to show weakness, to protect the people they love, to pretend they're stronger than they are. My tears fell harder. Of course he would hide it. Of course he would push through pain just to make me feel safe. Of course he would protect everyone except himself. That was the man I married, a man who had carried the world for decades and didn't know how to ask anyone else to help him hold it. We finally see him. A nurse entered. He's awake now, she said softly, weak but awake. You can see him, but only 2 at a time. Mia squeezed my hand. Go, Mom, you first. Ethan looked up, his red eyes pleading. I want to come too. Please, I need to see him. I hesitated. After everything he had done, after the cruelty, the humiliation, did he deserve to be first? But then I looked at him, not the grown man who mocked my husband, but the boy I raised. The boy who now looked shattered, lost, guilty beyond measure. I nodded, come with me. The room where everything felt fragile. When we entered Daniel's room, the world slowed down. He lay in the hospital bed, pale, hooked up to machines, breathing heavily, but his eyes opened when he heard us. Helen, he whispered weakly. He tried to smile. I went to him immediately, taking his hand gently. Don't talk, I whispered, just rest. He shook his head softly. I'm okay. He wasn't. We all knew he wasn't. Then Daniel noticed Ethan, standing in the doorway, the tears, the guilt, the fear in his eyes, and something in Daniel softened. Son, Daniel whispered. The word hit Ethan like a bullet. He broke completely. He rushed to the bedside and fell to his knees. I'm sorry, Ethan choked out. God, I'm so sorry. I was horrible. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Daniel slowly lifted a shaking hand and placed it on Ethan's head. You were afraid, he whispered, and fear makes people act foolishly. Ethan sobbed harder. But you must learn mocking someone's age, thinking older means weaker, judging without knowing. His voice cracked. That is the real weakness. Ethan bowed his head against the bed, crying silently. I placed my hand on both of theirs, and for a moment, just a moment, there was healing, but it didn't last. Because someone else arrived, someone who did not come with remorse, or love, or accountability, someone who came only to make things worse. Clara walks in like nothing happened. The door swung open. Clara stepped inside, not crying, not shaken, not regretful. Annoyed, yes, annoyed. She crossed her arms and sighed loudly. Okay, can someone tell me how long this hospital drama is going to last? I have work tomorrow. Daniel blinked slowly. Ethan looked up at her in disbelief. Clara, what are you doing here? He whispered. She shrugged. I figured you'd be done crying by now. Can we leave? I'm starving. My veins filled with ice. Mia, who had been standing in the hallway, stepped in behind her, furious. Are you serious? She snapped. Clara rolled her eyes. Oh, please. The man fainted. He's old. Old people faint. Ethan stood up, trembling. Clara, get out. What? Get out. His voice didn't crack this time. It didn't tremble. It was firm. Clear. A tone I hadn't heard from him in a long time. Clara scoffed, flipping her hair. Wow, so I'm the villain now. Fine. Stay with your little hospital family. I'll see you at home. She stormed out. Mia followed her to make sure she didn't cause more chaos. The room fell silent. Ethan turned back to Daniel. I'm divorcing her, he said quietly. My eyes widened. Daniel stared at him. Ethan continued, she laughed at you. She humiliated my mother. She treated this whole thing like entertainment. And now she walks in here like your life is an inconvenience. His voice broke. I chose her over you both today. That was the biggest mistake of my life. Daniel shook his head weakly. No, son, don't make decisions when you're hurting. But Ethan shook his head. Daniel, I finally see things clearly. She's toxic, and she made me toxic too. I became someone I don't even recognize. He wiped his tears, breathing shakily. I'm done letting her poison me or this family. My heart ached for him. For us, for everything broken between us. But I didn't know that he wasn't the only one who was about to reveal something big. Because as Ethan took Daniel's hand again, Daniel looked at me, and he whispered, Helen, there's something else I need to tell you. The machines beeped steadily. My breath stopped. Something else. What else could there be? Daniel swallowed, struggling for words. I didn't just hide my illness, he whispered. He looked at Ethan, at you, then at Mia and at your father, then finally at me. I've been hiding something even bigger, something from my past, and you, all of you deserve to know the truth. The room froze. My pulse echoed loud in my ears, bigger than a heart condition, bigger than a military career. What could possibly be bigger? Daniel closed his eyes, gathering strength, and when he opened them, everything we thought we knew about him and about ourselves was about to change forever. Dramatic storyteller, voice, high retention, emotional pacing Frida continues. That night felt longer than any night in my life. The house was silent, but the silence wasn't peaceful. It was the kind that squeezes your chest, the kind that warns you a storm is coming. I sat in my living room, clutching the photo of my son Toto as a child, smiling, innocent, full of dreams. And all I could wonder was, where did things go so wrong? I didn't realize the answer was about to knock on my door. Literally, the knock that changed everything. Bang, bang, bang. It was nearly midnight. I thought it was Toto coming home after cooling down, but when I opened the door, it was my daughter-in-law. Her wedding dress was torn, her makeup was smeared, and she was shaking so badly she could barely stand. Her father stood behind her, red-faced, furious, breathing like a bull ready to charge. Before I could speak, he thundered, "Your son ruined my daughter's life, and now he is going to pay for it." My heart dropped. What are you talking about? What happened? The bride stepped forward, eyes swollen, voice trembling. Auntie, I didn't know how to tell you the truth. But Toto, he didn't marry me for love. My breath caught in my throat. She looked down, tears dripping onto her ruined wedding dress. He married me because he thought my family was rich. He thought he'd get our properties, our businesses, our money. I staggered back as if she had slapped me. No, no, my son isn't like that, I whispered. But her father cut in sharply. Your son asked for a dowry list before the wedding. My daughter showed me the messages. The room spun. My knees felt weak. The evidence, she pulled out her phone with trembling hands and scrolled through messages. My son's messages, my own son, text saying, your father owns 3 houses, right? We'll get that one near the main road after marriage. My mother will ask for some gold, but don't worry, it's nothing big. Your father must give some cash too. That's tradition. Tradition. No, that wasn't tradition. That was greed. My stomach twisted with shame so heavy it made me dizzy. I had raised this boy. I had taught him values. I had taught him respect. How did I miss the monster growing inside him? The bride's confession, she wiped her tears and whispered, Auntie, I loved him. I agreed to everything because I thought he'd change after marriage. But today, he told me something that broke me. I asked weakly, what did he say? She swallowed hard. He said marrying me was his investment and that my family better return it with profit. Her voice cracked. Mine shattered. Her father shouted, voice shaking with fury. We canceled the reception. We stopped the dance, the food, everything, because my daughter will not live her life as someone's business transaction. He glared at me with eyes full of fire. From today, your son is dead to us. I couldn't speak. My tongue felt numb. My heart felt hollow. Before leaving, the bride turned back, voice barely a whisper. Auntie, I still respect you. You deserved a better son. And with that, they walked away, leaving my doorway cold, leaving my soul shattered into pieces I wasn't sure I could ever put back together. The final blow, just when I thought the night couldn't get worse, my phone buzzed. A message from Toto. 3 words that stabbed deeper than anything before. I'm not coming. No explanation. No apology, nothing, just silence.